but for those of you who have not, want to remind you of a couple processes that are really important for us to engage in this meeting this evening. Want to clarify that this meeting will be primarily us sharing out information, and we will utilize the present function to show our presentation. We have received, as you can imagine, several questions throughout the last couple weeks, so it's our goal to share timely and updated information with you. Excuse me. We request that you mute your microphone when you are not speaking. Zoom obviously has a mute microphone option that cuts down on ambient feedback for the audience. During the meeting, we will utilize the Zoom chat function for our question and answer sections. Please only use the chat to send your questions, concerns, or statements to everyone. Mrs. Lee, Ms. Adams, actually we should have updated this, and Ms. Burdette will be monitoring the chat box to allow for some responses between each agenda item. As we did in our first meeting, which many of you remember, is if we are unable to get to the responses or questions, we will keep a running record and update that information on our website. I will tell you that a majority of this meeting is focused on many of the questions you have had or have submitted, and we will do our best to get through them all. So to put faces with names, we have quite a cast here today that is committed to ensuring that you have up-to-date information. So while I introduce them, they will, sorry, let me just open up my information. They will say hello and you'll be able to put a face with the name. So first and foremost, we have Dr. Lynn Brown, our AP and class of 2020 administrator.
Good evening, everyone. Hello, 2020.
We have Josh Newman Sunshine, assistant principal and class of 2021.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Friday.
We have Mr. Ahmed Adelikhan, assistant principal and class of 2022.
Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's staying safe and staying positive.
We have Ms. Edith Lee, assistant principal and class of 2023 for the last names A through N.
Good evening, everyone.
We have Ms. Vilma Nahara, AP and class of 2023, last names O through Z.
Good evening.
We have Ms. Judy Yu, our business administrator.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome.
We have Ms. Tracy D. Martini, PTSA president.
Hi, everyone. Happy Friday.
We have Ms. Kate Carter, Booster Club president.
Hi, everybody. I hope everyone enjoyed the incredible weather today.
We have Ms. Jen Kemp, science and staff development teacher.
Good evening, everybody. Happy first day after the AP Chem exam. That's what I'm celebrating.
We have Ms. Jess Burdette, social studies teacher and class of 2020 sponsor.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming out on this beautiful afternoon.
We have Ms. Colleen Adams, computer science teacher, assistant athletic director, and graduation coordinator.
Hey, everybody.
We have Ms. Amy Elsa, resource counselor.
Hi, good evening. Welcome, everyone.
We have Ms. Mary Pat Maloney Johnson, our college and career coordinator.
Hello, everyone. Nice to be with you.
And I know her name should be somewhere here, but we have Miss Jen Nicholson, our media assistant, our media specialist, and actually one of our AP coordinators.
Hi, everyone. Glad to be here.
And for the first time ever, we have one of our newest assistant principals who will be joining us for the next school year. Dr. Phil Yarborough is joining our community this evening.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Glad to be on board. Go Cougars.
Thank you. All right, anybody I missed?
Hey, everybody, Jeff Raberman, Athletic Director.
Sorry about that, Mr. Raberman. Please accept my apologies. And my daughter's in the other room laughing right now. So, sorry, Mr. Aberman. All right, so I'd like to go through our agenda this evening. Of course, I'm welcoming everybody now. We have some booster meeting items that need to go through. Ms. Kate Carter will lead us through that. I will update you on current knowledge and information about state system and Quince Orchard messages. We will discuss our current knowledge of marking period 4, as it was literally just released today and then updated again this afternoon. So please bear with us as we navigate that conversation. We will discuss our senior awards ceremony. We will discuss updates, what information we know about distribution and collection of materials. Of course, we're trying to think about it through phases for seniors and then underclassmen in the second phase. We will share as much information as we can about updates now about graduation and some senior items that are important for our seniors to know as they round out the year. And then Mr. Roberman will provide updates on athletics. So we have a pretty packed agenda today, as you can see, and we will do our best to continue to answer questions. All right, but first, we have got to say a huge happy birthday to Mrs. Lee. So where else would Miss Lee want to be than with us on a Friday night celebrating her birthday? Happy birthday, Miss Lee.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
The best birthday ever.
Happy birthday, Edith.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Edith.
All right. Enough of that celebrating. No, just going on. All right. So, Miss Carter, if you could chime in now, and then we can go through the process for your part of the meeting.
Okay, good evening, everybody, and thank you so much for being here. First and foremost, I again want to thank our QO community for the incredible job we did on the very last day we could really be together for mulch. It was an incredible turnout, and you all are amazing. We need to vote on our slate for the 2020-2021 school year. You are going to do that through the chat function. So someone needs to set a motion and then second. Unfortunately, Kathy Ferone cannot be on this because one of her children is using her computer. So we don't have the minutes to be voted in. So we'll do that the next time we're together in an official Booster Club meeting from the last meeting. So right now, our biggest piece that we need to do is vote on the slate for the upcoming school year. And do that through the chat function, please.
And Ms. Carter, just to clarify, I know this is your part of the meeting, but we'll give 1 minute for people to. How do you turn it louder? This computer up here. Okay. Somebody's whispering. We'll give 1 minute for people to vote,
Okay.
yes, no, and then we will move on unless we don't have enough votes. I know you have to have a certain number. So Ms. Lee, could you let us know as we go through how many votes we've received?
Oh, wow. She's going to have to count really fast.
She's good.
Got
Okay,
you. Hold on.
excellent. Let's put the birthday girl to work.
We can also use the participants button at the side and they could vote yes too,
Oh, okay.
but no worries.
I also want to say, while we're just sort of waiting in this time piece, that there will be another, both PTSA and boosters, I believe, will be sending out emails, if an email hasn't already been sent, with a link to provide people with a way to donate to our QO community families that are experiencing COVID-19 repercussions. So please take a look at your email and participate if you can.
So I have a question. Do I just count the yeses or the people who also second and third and fourth the motions as well?
I think you can just count the yeses if there's already been a second and a third.
I said yes again, Edith.
Okay.
Okay, it's been 1 minute.
Okay.
And so the results are in, and Ms. Carter, you can.
Well, I believe that the slate has gone through, and so I look forward to working with everybody, and I can't wait until the Quince Orchard community is back together again. We miss everyone.
Yay! Congratulations, everybody. Yay! Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, and we're going to continue on. So one of the things you'll see is, and I shared before, this video is being recorded and will be uploaded to our website. But there are two QR codes on here that has important information regarding current messages from MCPS and grading and revised grading and reporting policies information. We will continue to update information as we receive it. But I highly encourage you, if you've not done so already, to take some time to read the State of Maryland Recovery Plan for Education. It is a long document. It is 54 pages. We did link it here. We're not going to go in and break it down now because the state has not taken action on this, but I think it's really important for people to start to wrap their head around what is being discussed and what is being looked at, because the implications that are possibly outlined in this plan could have a significant impact on not just Quince Orchard, but obviously the state of Maryland. So I've linked it there. We are going to start to study this plan as a school leadership team in the next couple weeks. We're going to chunk it down and break it down so we understand what it means and can help to answer questions and provide clarification as we receive it. The second part that we're going to talk about today is around graduation. MCPS did share something over the weekend around 2 phases of a graduate, actually 3 phases of a graduation. And we're going to share information with you later on in this meeting about what that looks like for Quince Orchard and what we're planning for at this time. As you know, or many of you probably know, the county executive did indicate in his conference yesterday that we are still in a shelter. So at this time, there's no plans for the third part, which is the face-to-face graduation, but we are actively working on some other pieces as soon as information is finalized. We're already working behind the scenes and trying to make the magic happen to recognize our students. Also wanted to share that on Monday, the 18th, we begin phase 3 of online learning. We actually have a running joke with the admin and leadership team that everything's in phases. So that's become our word of the year, is phases. And right now we're beginning phase 3 of online learning. What does that mean for you? What does that mean for your students? What that means is we're moving from just traditional office hours where you, pardon me, where you are available if needed to live check-ins. So that means that students would have an opportunity to clarify information, to check in with their teachers face-to-face, or in a way to have a conversation. Not necessarily always face-to-face, but definitely live check-ins. And then, as I shared, we're going to, and part of phase 3 is also focused on the experience of the students in interaction with the teachers. So we are looking as a leadership team, and we'll be talking with staff around what does the quality of instruction look like in phase 3? Because if you link the conversation around the Maryland Recovery Plan for Education and phase 3, you'll start to wrap your head around the fact that this is probably going to continue longer than we anticipated, and we need to be prepared for continuing to build our capacity as a school system to enhance our virtual learning experiences. We've, I think, gone a long way or come a long way. Our staff are doing amazing things. I hear it all the time. Many of you have sent emails, you've sent notes about the experiences that your students are having. And so we want to continue to enhance those experiences and provide them with the support and resources that they need. We're going to talk, as I alluded to earlier, about grading and reporting, and share updated information. When I say updated, I mean information came at 4:36 today. So we will share as much information as we can, but please be patient as we're continuing to learn what this means on behalf of our students, because we want to wrap our head around it before we cause undue stress for anybody. And then, as Ms. Carter shared, and Ms. DiMartini has been amazing as well, we are coming together as a school community to gather funds and gift cards and things to provide for our Cougars, for our Cougar community. We have many families that are being impacted in ways that we could have never imagined. And there are many families and many community members who want to give back. So, pardon me, look for more information to come out from PTSA, from boosters, and I will update in my weekly call out this Sunday. Right, so Mr. Newman Sunshine, how's my time?
You're good.
Okay, Ms. Lee, were there any questions I can address from this portion?
There were no questions at this time.
I got no love. No, just use it. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to, let me just see here, Ms. Nahara.
Good evening again. Hello, parents, staff, and I thought I saw some of our students in the meeting. So hi guys from the advisory group. So I'll be explaining marking period 4 and grading. This is very different than what we're used to. And this took a lot of time for us to process as well as a school. So I hope that with my explanation, you guys gain a better understanding of how we're doing marking period 4. The biggest thing that the county wants us to focus on, and they emphasize, is that MCPS is emphasizing on the importance of overall student engagement as opposed to precise scores and grades. And it's also important to remember the way we see our grades in the portal and the interpretation of them is not the normal way of how we used to do things. So students, in order to pass marking period 4, need to meet 2 out of the 4 criteria on this slide. So the first criteria being assignment completion, completes assignments on a consistent basis, at least 50% of the assignments. That is one of the criteria. The second one is if students demonstrate understanding of concepts or applications of skills on these assignments. The third one is engagement. And that's if students are checking in with teachers, if they're attending their classes, if they're in communication, and are actively participating on the online courses. And then the last one is, again, sort of emphasizing the spirit of the grading. And this is what they call teacher professional judgment. So if a teacher knows that there's students who are having hardship, having a hard time accessing, health issues, and so forth, this is where, as a teacher, they can say, you know what, I'm going to give this student the benefit of the doubt. They're experiencing a lot of stress, and that can count as one of the criteria met. Next slide, please, Ms. Thomas. So as Ms. Thomas stated, this slide is what was sent to us today at 4:30 p.m. And what this slide shows is a grid, and it's a helpful tool so that students and parents understand how the semester grade at the end of marking period 4 is going to be determined. So we have to remember, marking period 4, we pass or we don't meet the criteria. So if we assume all students are passing marking period 4, how their semester grade is determined is based on their marking period 3 grade, but it's bumped up to a higher grade. So on this chart, you'll see at the top half of the chart, everything that's in white. If a student gets an A marking period 3 and they pass marking period 4, they receive an A or a pass option. And a student receives a B and marking period 3 and they pass marking period 4, they'll get the A or the pass option. Now this is something that students can choose, whether or not they want to receive the bump up grade or they want to receive the pass or the P on their transcript. And students have that choice, and they can choose it course by course, or they can just do it for all their classes. Now, the bottom part of this slide is when students aren't meeting the 4 criteria or 2 out of the 4 criteria. And that's when it becomes more of a case-by-case basis for the student. So then that's where the different options come in as far as getting in complete. You see there in blue that getting a no grade or another mark is to be determined. And we'll get further information on that next week from the county. But those are what we know today of our options or how a semester grade will be determined for our students for the end of this year. So if they are passing and meeting 2 out of the 4 criteria, they have the option of getting a letter grade that's bumped up, or they can get a pass for that course. The next slide, please, and it'll explain a little bit more in detail the slide. So just here, some things I want to highlight is that students have the choice of receiving a letter grade or of passing, and they may do it and they may select it course by course. And the GPA that they would get is going to be factored into their cumulative GPA on their transcript. It's also important to note that on their transcript and on their report card, they are going to have a COVID-19 stamp. And that's just so that wherever they go or in the future or 3 years from now, we know that during this time, this is what the P or why the student would have chosen the P, or just have record of the grades during this time of online instruction. So I emphasize to parents, to students, that it is important that they do the assignments, that they do engage in classes, and they try their best on these assignments. And the purpose of this is because we want, and I know our teachers are working hard to teach them the skills, the concepts, the standards for the next year. And we want our kids to be set up and be best prepared for what's to come next year. So it is important. And students, if you're listening, you need to go to class and you need to do the assignments and you need to check in, because it does count and it will help you later on in the future. I know what we've done now is I know we've checked in with our student advisory group. I've reached out to some students to get some student input as to how we're going to convey this message to the kids and how we're going to explain this to them so that they can make informed decisions and families can make informed decisions as to how they want to calculate or what grades they want for their transcript for this year. But yes, big message. Seniors need to keep doing the work. Juniors need to keep doing the work. Sophomores and freshmen, keep doing the work, stay engaged. And later on, we'll get more information as to how they opt for the letter grade and for the passing grade. So I saw some questions pop up, Edith. Is there anything we can answer? And I lean on my administrative team too, if I missed anything.
Okay, the first question is, when will they be able to choose if they're going to receive a pass and get credit or a letter grade?
So we don't know that yet. We are waiting for further information next week. And as soon as we find out, we will communicate that immediately.
The second question is, how do first and second quarter grades received calculate into the final grade? Your slide only showed about third and fourth marking period.
So first and second marking period is already calculated into their transcript. I know that in a normal school setting, you guys would have received, I think this quarter or at the beginning of fourth quarter, or I mean last quarter, a transcript showing your students' grades. So semester one, semester grades are already in their transcript.
Okay, the third question, well, what will the process look like for them to choose?
As of right now, my understanding is that central office, they're developing a way for them to do that, and that's efficient and fast. So we're still waiting on that from them.
Okay, the next question is, how will, for seniors?
I lost you, Edith. Can you repeat that again?
How will this work for seniors?
How will this work for seniors? The same way. That's why it is important for seniors, and I know with AP tests and them having almost, well, their last day is coming soon. They still do need to engage. They still are going to receive a pass, and then they can choose the grade that they want. Theirs will be done quicker, so that's why I think the county is trying to hustle and trying to get that process done for them as soon as possible.
Okay, the next question is, will the final transcript be ready to be sent to their colleges?
I can't answer that question. I do know.
Elza says she'll answer that question in just a little bit, Bella.
Oh, good. Thank you, Miss Elza.
There are no other questions at this time. Additional questions come up, we can answer them afterwards.
Okay, so thank you again, and thank you for being patient and flexible with a lot of the unknowns. Students, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to your counselors or your teachers or to us or your administrators. Same parents, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. And thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tahira. The other piece I wanted to share, students, as you're on, and parents, one of our key messages that we're trying to get out there is each one reach one, each one reach one. So we have some students that are not engaging. And so we're doing our due diligence to call, to email, to reach out, but sometimes students respond to their peers better than they respond to adults. So we challenge you to reach out and find somebody you've not connected with. All right, next presentation is Senior Awards. Ms. Kemp.
Yes, ma'am. Hi, everybody. So we have decided to do the virtual Senior Awards celebration on Wednesday, May the 27th. I assume that date sounds kind of familiar to everyone. I think it's a pretty good choice since that's a day we were planning on having a celebration anyway, so let's just have the one that we can have. So at 5 p.m., it's a pre-recorded presentation that will become live on the Quince Orchard TV YouTube channel, and you'll be getting a link to that when the invitations come out. So the presentation will be just like it always is, except for, of course, not being live. The award winners will be up on slides, and then we are pre-videotaping messages from all of the presenters. The invitation, I'm pleased to say, is ready today. Thank you, Robin. And will be sent out sometime next week. There's a printed invitation. We also plan to send emails to the students just to make sure that our bases are covered. We are also working on an official program that will be sent out, or not sent out, but there will be a printed program because we know that people like to keep them. And the printed program will be available when you pick up your cap and your gown, whenever that day is. And then the actual award, since we won't be actually handing out the awards on the 27th, we will hopefully put some of the awards with the other materials when you pick things up if they're ready. If they're not, we will mail things home after that. And that's the award ceremony. And I'm glad I got to do something happier. Thank you, Vilma, for taking the tough one. Are there any questions?
Jen, at this time, but wait a second, let me see, something just came up. No, that's not yours. You have no questions at this time.
Great, thank you.
Actually, Jen, a question just came up. Jen, can you answer just one question? Are invitations sent to all seniors, or will it just be students who receive an award?
Only the students who are receiving an award.
Okay, the second question is, will a student be informed if they are getting an award?
Yes, Colby, I saw you there. That's the purpose of the invitations, is it informs the students who are getting the awards so you know to tune in and be there.
But
Okay?
they will know which award they're receiving, is that correct?
No, it's a secret and a surprise. But if
Okay.
you get an invitation, then you're receiving something.
Okay, those are the only questions so far that we have in the chat room. Is there anyone else who wants to add any questions to the chat room? I think we're good, Ms. Kemp.
Thanks very much. It's been fun to work on.
All right, here we go with distribution and collection of materials information.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start, and Ms. Yu and I will be doing this presentation together. First, let me say it's just been an honor to be the class administrator for the class of 2020. And so I'm really excited that we're finally getting to a phase where we can take some concrete action. I know it's been a challenge for the students and the families, just not knowing. And have that being said, by the time I get through, it's still gonna feel like you don't know a whole lot. But we will be working on distribution and collection of materials. We will be doing it in 2 phases. The first phase will focus on the class of 2020, our seniors, and trying to get them prepared for the virtual graduation, for the senior award ceremony, and other things. At this time, we do not have the date or the logistics for when we will actually start distribution of things. We are awaiting further information from the county. We did get a blurb, a brief message about a half an hour before we started this meeting that we have permission to begin distribution and collection probably around the last week of May or the first week of June. But again, we do not have definite dates, but at least we're getting closer to a time frame. And our goal is that we will be able to distribute items before the virtual graduation ceremony. So we have begun collecting things. We're working diligently to get items from some of our companies, our suppliers. They too have been shut down, but we are doing our very best to make sure that we can have a rewarding, a fulfilling experience to the best degree possible right now. As far as distribution, caps and gowns are prepackaged. The students, we are also looking to provide the cords, stoles, and other regalia that from the kids that are participating in different clubs, have received distinctions and honors and those kinds of things. We also hope that we will be able to provide at the time of cap and gown distribution, the senior awards, certificates, their pins, and any other items that they may be awarded at that time. We are looking to do locker clean out that will be by request. All of these items are, all of these activities are going to be dependent upon our access to the building, whether they would be outside, all of those kinds of details. We do have to get direction from the county because we still have the building is not available for access. So we don't know what exactly this is going to look like. So Ms. Yu, can you speak to the collection and mailing, please?
Yes, hello. So the list we have here is, it may not be a complete list. So if you locate something in your house that you know should be returned, please feel free to bring it by. The dates and times, as Dr. Brown indicated, they'll be communicated with you. We will divide up the days that the students come in based on last name. Each set will get their same amount of time, they'll be allocated the same amount of time to come by. We envision having some stations set up for the different items to be returned to try to make it be a smoother process for all, where you can drop off what you've received, what you need to return, and then move on to what you're going to pick up in the way of caps and gowns and things. So some of the items that we came up with that we know are outstanding that are out there with students, is athletic equipment, uniforms, musical instruments, textbooks, technology such as calculators and cameras. And then we're also unsure as to the date with the Chromebook collection. It's going to depend probably on when the virtual graduation is. We don't want to collect the Chromebooks if we haven't had the virtual graduation yet, as some students may still need these Chromebooks in order to view that. So moving on to mailing, which some of these were also touched on with Dr. Brown. So what we're looking at, mailing after the virtual graduation date are the diplomas, certificates of merit, the SSL certificates, and any additional student recognition certificates. Dr. Brown?
Can we have the next slide, please? Phase 2 involves grades 9 through 11. Again, we are waiting some definition and clarification from MCPS in terms of what that's going to look like. Again, we will be looking to collect athletic equipment, uniforms, musical instruments, textbooks, any other materials, technology, our calculators, cameras. Again, Chromebook distribution, we are awaiting further guidance on when we will actually collect those. As far as mailing, you can anticipate receiving report cards and any certificates that may be awarded to students grade 9 through 11 by the mail. So as soon as we have final details about all of these things, and you will probably be receiving multiple pieces of information at different times, but as soon as we have any final details, it will be shared through Mrs. Thomas's weekly call out, and please check the website for constant updates. Again, we want to thank you for your patience and your flexibility, and we appreciate all the support that you have given to our students and to us as staff at Quince Orchard High School.
Next slide, Ms.
Are we going to take questions at this time, Ms. Thomas?
Are we good on time? Do you want to go? We can answer a couple. Let's answer a couple questions there, and then Miss Burdette will come back to you.
We are way ahead on time.
Oh, good. Okay.
Okay, Dr. Brown, first question. As crazy as it sounds right now, there are some kids that are considering going to Beach Week now that Ocean City has opened. That is going to be taking place May 30th to June 6th. Is it possible to avoid distribution or reschedule a distribution date and virtual ceremonies for that week?
It is not up to each school when we are scheduling these things. We may have some a little flexibility within a window, but as far as the graduation date, that is actually being determined by MCPS. So we don't have flexibility there. We do realize that people have different schedules, so we will make note of the comments that are in the chat session when we are looking to schedule things.
Okay, a second comment that was made by Ms. Cooley-Klein is that print copies of the senior issue of the Prowler, the student newspaper, will be distributed along with caps and gowns.
We certainly can have those available. As soon as we get information about how this is going to look, we certainly can have those available.
So
yes.
The third question is going to be, will students be able to get their personal belongings and instruments that they've left in their music locker and the lockers?
Additional information will come out about that. The music department is well aware, and we've talked about collecting and distributing musical instruments. So yes, there will definitely be information coming out about that.
Okay, those are the only questions at this time.
I'm sorry, you said to move that, okay, I'm going.
All right, folks. So our virtual graduation this year will happen in phases. The first phase will be the universal pre-recorded graduation provided to us by MCPS. They are going to put it all together, and it will take place sometime in early June. Individual schools will be recognized, and there will be a guest commencement speaker. As far as our own, as we said earlier, that we do not have a date yet at this point, but MCPS has given us a guideline for how to organize it along with time management points to consider. So we have a little bit of flexibility there, but not a ton. So what will happen is we will again have a pre-recorded ceremony to celebrate our amazing seniors. We will hear speeches from Mrs. Thomas and Dr. Brown, Sam Mercer, who is our class president for class of 2020, Kate Ferrone, who is our SGA president, and our student and valedictorian speakers. More on the auditions for that will be coming at a later date. Now, we all know that Mr. Davis was our student selected speaker. However, as part of the MCPS guidelines for how to put together our virtual presentation, we won't have enough time for that. However, we do not want you to miss out on what he has to say because he's already put it together for us, and I know it's going to be great. So he will be releasing his speech separately, and we will have that posted on the QO website for everyone to see. Additionally, each student will receive physical copies of the program when they pick up their cap and gowns. Again, if you ever have any questions about any of this information, please don't hesitate to reach out to Dr. Brown or myself. Mrs. Thomas, could you go to the next slide? In order to make sure that graduation comes off without a hitch, we have already put together a senior checklist for you to help students and families organize and ensure that all of the criteria are met in order to close out the school year for us. On this checklist, which you can actually go look at once we post this slideshow, you will be able to kind of keep track of what needs to happen. There's a Naviance survey that will be talked about in just a moment. There's a place for you to list all the textbooks that you have and that need to be turned in. Any additional materials that have to be done along those lines. So you can get that on here through this document, as it will be posted on our QOHS website.
Okay, hi everyone, Ms. Johnston here. I'm just talking a little bit more to the seniors about the 2020 QO High School graduation survey. Hopefully By now, you've seen either a Naviance or MCPS message from me that includes it's pretty straightforward instructions about how to access that survey on your Naviance account in the About Me section. This information is really important. It's important for us at QO so that we can help guide students in the future. It informs and builds up scattergrams, so future QO students will be able to see where they fall with the different colleges they're interested in applying to. And also this information is required from us by the county, particularly the scholarship monies, so that they can determine how to allocate, make program decisions, and so on. So thank you very much for doing that. What we have decided to do this year also to make it easier and have one less process for you to go through is to incorporate the final transcript request into this process. So when you list the college that you will be attending, that is what we will use to go ahead and send out your final transcript. Typically, our final transcripts are available from MCPS in mid-July. We haven't heard that there's any delay, but again, we will let you know as soon as possible. Just to reassure you, oftentimes colleges will begin requesting those final transcripts very soon at the beginning of the summer, but they understand also that we can only send them when they're available from our districts. So don't worry about that too much. Okay, and there will be more information available about this on the counseling website. You also feel free to email me if you have any questions. I've already received quite a few questions about logins for Naviance, and I can reset your password. So just email me about that. Ms. Thomas, could we go to the next slide, please? So I'm going to take off my CCIC hat, my college and career hat, and put on dual enrollment. And this is for freshmen, sophomores, mainly juniors, rising juniors and seniors who are interested in taking a course at Montgomery College. They are enrolling now. We're in the registration process if you're interested in taking a course this summer or in the fall. The summer courses will be online. Fall is yet to be determined. Their hope was that they would start online and then go on campus, but we will see how things progress. So important things to know: the application for Montgomery College, the fee has been waived, just so you know. That's not, there is no application fee. Because the assessments, some students have not been able to take their SATs or ACTs, which is a requirement for assessment typically, as well as the AccuPlacer, because some students haven't been able to take them, and because AccuPlacer and the ALEX, which is the math assessment, are not available. They have made a broad policy that if a student has a cumulative GPA of a 2.75, they are eligible to take a 100 level course, which actually is quite a broad range of courses. So just to let you know that if you were thinking about taking a college course, now is the time to begin learning more information about how to apply for that process. And along that line, I just want to let you know that next Thursday, May 21st at 11, I'll be holding a dual enrollment information Zoom conference. So this is the Zoom meeting down here. You can just go ahead and log in. You don't have to pre-register. And I'll be going over the process and the steps to enrollment for an MC course and talking a little bit more about that. So thank you very much.
Mrs. Lee, are there any questions?
Okay, there are questions that are going to start from graduation. So
okay.
Our first question: will all of the valedictorians be recognized during the ceremony?
I believe so. I know we've started putting it together a little bit. Yes, absolutely. We are working out a process that fits within the MCPS guidelines to acknowledge everyone we would normally recognize during our actual in-person ceremony.
Okay, the next question: do you need to have a cap and a gown for the virtual graduation?
No, you do not. Because the way that we're doing this is we will be putting all of this together electronically and virtually before then. So your cap and gown is your keepsake. It is part of the, the rite of passage of becoming a high school graduate.
Okay, the next question: why not extend the graduation time to allow Mr. Davis's speech to be included in the graduation? Can we let these seniors have a full graduation and not miss a keynote speaker?
We'd love to hear from Mr. Davis, and we will be posting his speech. However, MCPS has given us some guidelines for the amount of time that we are going to be allowed to put on this virtual program. And so to keep within that timeline, we won't have time considering the large number of seniors that we have this year.
Will senior class SGA officers be recognized during the virtual ceremony since they are not getting a chance to speak anymore?
Yes, yes.
Okay, at this time, that's all the graduation questions we've had. Can I ask questions to Miss Mary Pat Maloney-Johnston?
Sure, yes.
One question is the scores from the recent AccuPlacer, when will they be in the system?
They would be available for the student through Montgomery College. If the student placed college ready on the AccuPlacer, Montgomery College would have their scores.
Okay, the next question, will online health be offered for incoming 10th graders? When will this registration open up for them? I'm not sure if that's a dual enrollment question or if that's a question that Ms. Elsa, you can answer at this time.
Sure, I know that we got approval for 2 sections of the hybrid health section. We're not sure if it's going to be totally online. The second session had just opened up earlier this week, and we can check with Ms. Aranda if there are still spaces available in that class. We have not gotten any additional clarification from the county about summer programs through the county, which are usually always an option. So hopefully we will have some more information on that shortly.
Ms. Elsa, sorry, Miss Lee, there is still spaces available.
Okay, we have some additional questions on graduation. Ms. Burdette, can you answer them at this time, or should we wait till the end to come back?
Let's wait to the end, if you don't mind. I just want to make sure we get through all the others topics.
Okay.
Okay, so I know we've talked a lot about seniors in this meeting. We just wanted to also show some support to our juniors. I know many of you tuned in to our meeting last week on college admissions process, and we had some reps join us to help with some questions. Tonight, actually, airing on YouTube and the MCPS TV channel is a college admissions discussion with several reps and some key figures in the county who are going to be going over some questions that were submitted from parents and students. So the first part of that discussion will be on grading and what that's going to look like, which some of the information we've already covered. And then the college reps will be talking about how to navigate that considering the state that we're in right now. As a follow-up to that event, College Tracks and QO Counseling are going to be hosting a follow-up Q&A. So we have sent out the link, and it's also included here in the presentation for any college or any junior families to submit questions they would like to see answered following this forum. And we will be creating a Zoom event on May 19th at 4 p.m. to go through a presentation covering those questions. We also have a lot of resources available on our website. We have a grade level page for juniors where you can find the presentation from last week if you were not able to make it, as well as our junior packet and things like that that we have put out that normally we would be giving out during the school time. So we hope you can tune in. If you can't make the show tonight at 8 p.m., they will be re-showing it on Monday and also on May 28th.
Ms. Thomas, can we go to the next slide? Oh, actually, let me, do you want questions, Ms. Elza?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought we were going to wait for questions.
I didn't know if there was another slide for Ms. Elza. Ms. Elza, when will juniors get senior packets?
So that's what I was just talking about, the junior packet. It's already available on our website. And if juniors have joined our Google Classroom for the class of 2021, it's also posted in there.
The next question is, are Quince Orchard High School summer school classes still being planned? Will they be online or in person?
We do know about the health class that we're still running. We're not sure if it's going to be in person or online or a hybrid of the both. But as of right now, we haven't had any word about other summer classes.
Okay, those are the only questions for you, Ms. Ells, at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to, hold on 1 second. Okay, Mr. Raberman.
Hey, everybody. So just going to go over a couple things as far as athletics goes. The spring 2020 sports season was canceled on April 28th by the MPSSAA. In order to honor our seniors, we did have virtual senior nights on Twitter and the website. Obviously honored all the kids, had pictures of them, also who they'd like to thank, where they're going to college next year, and, tried our best really to, honor our seniors in a really, really tough situation. I know there's been many times in the last 2 months where I've put myself in these senior shoes, and I can't imagine not having my senior season playing baseball. So really feel for the kids. I wish there was more we could do. But, I do appreciate all the, the kind messages that I got after we posted all of those. And I think considering what it is, I think it went pretty well. So end of the year awards banquet and signing day. The virtual signing day is going to be Wednesday, May 20th. We're going to do that on Twitter and the website as well, just like we did the senior nights. We are getting all of the information from the coaches. They're getting the kids' pictures, and the coaches are going to do a little 30-second clip, just like we would do at the ceremony. And that'll be posted on Wednesday after 5 o'clock. On Thursday night, we're going to have our end of the year awards banquet. That's something that we have every year. We were just going to do it on Twitter, but I've decided, and I've talked with Miss Adams and Mr. Pelkey and Miss Thomas, and we're going to do it on Zoom. So this weekend, I will make sure that I send all the coaches. They'll get the password and the meeting number, and we'll send that out to all of the parents and all the kids. Everybody's welcome to join us. So we will be doing our Zoom end of the year awards banquet on Thursday, May 21st, and that's going to be starting at 7 p.m. Like I said, everybody is invited. We have a PowerPoint presentation that we'll go through, and we'll honor our 2019-2020 sports year. As far as fall sports go, as of right now, we're still beginning on August 12th, which is a Wednesday. Online registration will be slightly different. We have a different company that's going to be doing it. I don't have too much information on that yet, but we're getting training here in the next couple of weeks. So when I do, I will make sure that I pass that along. But I was told that you'll be able to still access it from the same area. As far as summer conditioning, camps, everything like that, those are up on the air and on hold. We just don't have any information as far as that is concerned. I can tell you that Montgomery County canceled their summer camps, and everything in the county is closed field-wise until June 30th. So I would say the first that we would be back in is July, but there's still a lot of things that need to be decided as far as that goes. As far as eligibility goes, for all the students coming back next year, they're going to be eligible the entire first semester. So if they're playing a fall or a winter sport, they will be eligible for both of those. So that was something that the board voted on. So the eligibility wise, every single kid in every single grade will be eligible to start fall and winter sports in the first and second market period. One other thing that I want to make sure that we go over is spirit wear. So it's been bounced around between our school and BSN. BSN, I'm meeting the rep on Monday, and he's going to give me everything that he has. At that point in time, I'm going to get with the coaches, and I'm going to give them to the coaches, and we're going to find a way to distribute them that way. Well, again, there'll be some more information at the beginning part of next week, but we do want to make sure that we get those spirit orders out. Obviously, the kids haven't been allowed at school, and we haven't been getting mail at school. So all that stuff was not delivered and was sent back to Indianapolis, and they sent it back to our rep, and we'll be getting the spirit wear, and I will be working with coaches to get that out to everybody. That way they have that. Sorry for the delay on that, but our hands really have been tied as far as that's concerned. So that's the athletics update as of right now. You know, there'll be a lot of information coming out in the summer. I will try and get things out to the website, Twitter, Facebook, you know, Connect Ed calls, just so everybody knows what's going on and we can sign up. As of right now, registration, I believe, is supposed to start July 16th online. But again, nothing's been finalized, and I will let everybody know once I know about fall registration. But just one last thing to the seniors and the senior parents. Thank you guys so much for everything that you've done for our athletic program and our school and our community. You know, hate to see it end like this. Wish we could get back out there and play a couple games for sure, but just not something that we can get done. But you know, my heart is with them, and I thank them for everything. And when we get back to normal, I look forward to seeing everybody back on campus. So we'll try and get something together for them when everything's clear. So thank you all very much, and I guess I'll open it up to questions.
Hey, Jeff, first is not a question, it's a comment. A parent said, thank you, government, for taking the time to post all of the kudos to the senior athletes. It was very much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you. It was the least we could do, and I wish we could do more, but you know, this is a special class, no doubt. You know, they all deserve that.
Okay, so the next one was a question about the dates. There was a parent who had asked, are the senior awards and the sports awards online ceremonies on the same evening? And I think you wanted to clarify that the date again for the sports awards online ceremony is for the 21st?
The sports awards online ceremony is May 21st. I don't know if I said something different, but it's May 21st at 7 p.m.
Okay, and those are the only questions at this time for you, Mr. Aberman.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
All right, and just also to clarify, so the sports awards are on Thursday, May 21st, correct? And senior awards is on Wednesday, May 27th, which would have been our original graduation date.
That's
okay,
correct.
Okay, thank you. So Ms. Lee, if you could, let me just make sure there's, okay. Is there anything, any other questions that we need to clarify?
Yes, the first question is going to go to Ms. Nahara.
Yes.
Ms. Nahara, how important is the engagement measure if students are doing the work and passing?
Well, I think, personally, I think all the measures are important. What's going to determine a passing grade is if they meet 2 of the 4. So that's what the county has set for us. But I do believe the engagement piece is important, getting the assignments in and doing the work and trying your best at it, just to prep them for the next year.
Okay, the next question also has to do with engagement. My children told me that the Zoom calls with teachers are just office hours, especially if they understood the work. They didn't think that they needed to attend. Will this check-in with the teacher be set hours on their own?
I didn't catch the last part of that, Edith.
Okay, so will the check-ins with their teachers be set hours on their own? So those check-ins, are they going to be the office hours separate from the office hours, or are the check-ins considered the same thing?
So I think any contact that you make with your teacher, whether it be through the Zoom, whether it be through office hours, email, the Remind app, all that will count.
And there are no separate check-in times from their office hours, so they're the same. They're called check-in hour check-ins.
Correct, check-ins.
Okay, those were the only 2 questions for you.
Okay.
Okay, next question would be from Ms. Kemp.
Yes.
The question is, why wouldn't all seniors get the invitation so that they can support their fellow classmates? Can all students be invited?
anyone can watch the ceremony. We'll be putting the link for the ceremony up on the website, and Beth will probably put in her call out as well. The invitation is specific to people receiving awards, so we know that they come to receive it, but the ceremony is absolutely open to everyone.
Okay, next question is also about senior awards, Ms. Kemp. What are the awards that students are actually receiving, and how many seniors will be receiving them?
There's a variety of awards. There's some individual ones. The departments all designated an award winner, and some of the sub-departments. There are some leadership awards that are sponsored by the school. Then there's some big group awards that come from the outside, like National Merit and Presidential Scholars and Governor's Merit. So there's quite a range. And I think the number, and Colleen can check me on this, but it's almost 300 of them.
Yeah, there's at least 300 students being recognized.
About 300. So it's a lot.
Okay, the next question is going to be from Ms. Burdette.
Okay.
This question is a graduation question. Sorry if I missed it, but what about an in-person graduation that was talked about in the MCPS survey? Will that be an option later on?
Yes, at this point, MCPS is still hoping for an in-person graduation later on in the summer. However, we have to defer to their determination as to when and how we can do that. And so we're just waiting for the social distancing restrictions to be lifted so that they can make that decision and we can then begin planning.
And I also want to chime in here. So just to further clarification is that right now all of our focus is on the virtual, and so we don't know what the follow-up will be. And I think it's really important that people understand the wording in what was shared by MCPS. It said a face-to-face or in-person gathering and celebration. It did not say an actual full-fledged graduation again. So I think that's a really important piece of this, is to understand, like, right now, we're putting all of our focus, not to say that we wouldn't do something in the future, but right now, all the variables that we're controlling are the virtual.
Okay, another graduation question. Is it an amendment that the school graduation be pre-recorded as opposed to a live via Zoom ceremony?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay, the next question, may I ask how much time is allotted or given for ceremony per MCPS? And I believe that's for the QO version of the ceremony.
Right. The QO virtual ceremony is allowed to be 45 to 60 minutes. And so with over 500 graduates, that's not a lot of time to recognize each student individually, to give them their moment in the limelight.
Okay, the next question, will senior award ceremony and graduation ceremonies be available to be watched after the original dates?
Yes, once they're on our Quince Orchard YouTube channel, they're available for as long as YouTube exists, I believe.
Okay, there was another question that actually is gonna go for senior awards for Ms. Kemp. Can I?
Sure.
Okay. Will emails be sent to award recipients?
There's two ways they're going to be notified. There's a printed, another like a keepsake invitation as well, which will be put in the regular mail. And then what we're going to do is pull the students' emails and send them an email as well, because we have access to those easily and we can just pull everyone. So the student will get an email and the family address will get a card.
Okay, there is another question right now for Ms. Burdette about graduation. It seems to be unfair to be putting a time limit on the virtual graduation. Does it have to be 1 hour?
I think that's.
So I will take that one. So yes, there are a lot of things that are being discussed at the county level in terms of consistency. And while we know that Quince Orchard does a magnificent graduation, there are parameters that are being placed on us. What I will tell you is that we are advocating to include as many people as we possibly can within the 45 minutes to an hour. But this is countywide. It is not changing from any other school. And so we have to implement the requirements that are being shared with us at this point. So we appreciate, we're right with you. We understand this is not truly the way that we would do things. However, we are trying to add as many perks and as many QO traditions as possible.
Okay, this question is another question for senior awards from Ms. Kemp. Ms. Kemp, can you tell us who the emails for the senior award invitations will be sent to? Will be the student, the parents?
It's the students.
Okay. All right, this other question, I'm not sure who it's going to be directed to. When will the seniors need to export their data from their G Suite accounts? Is there a date when seniors will be locked out of their MCPS accounts? I'm not sure if there's anyone here that can answer that. If not, we'll just have to come back to it at a later time.
I don't think that any of us currently have the answer to that, but I have sent an email and we will definitely follow up on that for students.
Okay, and then there was another comment or question made by a parent. Is there any chance that there can be a meeting just for seniors and for senior parents? There seems to be a lot of questions about logistics for seniors that take up the time of this PTSA meeting.
Mrs. Thomas, I'm not sure. I don't know how, I don't know the answers.
So, I mean, we're sharing as much information as we can. There's really nothing additional. And as I shared, as soon as we have more information, we will share it out. There is the checklist, there is the information. Right now, the number one priority, actually there's three priorities. Number one is that families know that there's going to be a virtual graduation and MCPS and Quince Orchard. Those may happen on 2 separate days. We will create everything that goes into that. So we are in the process right now of matching everything that we know about a student, their involvement, their awards, everything, and creating a presentation. So that's number one. Number two, senior awards night, information is coming out about that. And then the third piece was caps and gowns distribution. So the first step I would highly suggest is click on the link that will be posted on our website, and it goes through the list of information. And as we have things, we will send it out. But hold the dates of May 21st for the sports award night, of May 27th for the senior awards night. And you will probably hear by this weekend, I'll probably put it in my call out if I get the final date, about our virtual graduation and information. So we will send it all out as soon as we have information.
Okay, another question to clarify, will all senior virtual ceremonies be pre-recorded? Is that correct?
Yes, that is.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the next question, when is the last, has that changed?
The last day is for seniors is still May 22nd. That has not changed.
Okay, another distribution question. Will seniors get their cords when they pick up their caps and gowns?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, at this time, there are no additional questions.
All right, everybody. Well, I know it's a lot. And I, first of all, want to thank our team that came together tonight to create this presentation and to try to get as much information to you as quickly as we know it. I hope that you get the sentiment that we're not sitting on information. As soon as we have it, we are pushing it out. And the last thing we want to do is change things, but it's a constantly evolving situation. I would highly suggest, I want to go back to a comment that was made about Beach Week. You know, I understand things have happened, but also our awards will happen and they will be pre-recorded ahead of time. So we can't make that decision for you. That's a family decision. Everything will be uploaded to YouTube. And the reason we're not going with a live or Zoom graduation is we don't have the capacity and the bandwidth to do that. So if we were to offer that, we have 520 some graduates. If each graduate logged on, that is over the number of licenses that could be given to any one school at any given time. So that's why it's always going to be pre-recorded. MCPS graduation classes are much larger than some of the other ones that we've been seeing. Ms. Lee, anything before we wrap up?
There have been no additional questions, but everyone said thank you, great job for your leadership, and just lots of positive, thank you very much.
Thank you, seniors. Thank you, underclassmen. Thank you, everybody. Quince Orchard, we couldn't do this without you. We stand strong, we stand behind you, and know that we're going to do everything we can to try to make it the best experience that we can within the parameters. Be well, stay healthy, and never forget, we can't hide our Cougar pride. Have a good night, everybody.